Hello, Abigail here with another wax reading. I have been kind of feeling a heaviness in the collective. It's been for several years, but it's been intensifying. And so this wax reading is going to be messages from your future self. This is a collective timeless reading, but I felt like a lot of us could use some messages from the future. And when I say future, I actually believe in parallel timelines. So it's not actually the future, it's something that's already occurred, which is why we have access to it. So it's tapping into um, the multi-universe, if you will, the cosmic timelines, the multiple timelines that you live on, but specifically the timeline that you are on currently that is happening all at once, pulling some messages of hope to get us linear material beings, because while our souls are eternal, our bodies are material. Some messages from the magic and the energy of our timelines and of the world around us. I'm going to do an energy check so that you can verify that this reading is for you. We also have this brown candle. I'll be doing the reading with it. Brown is a nice soothing and grounding color, so thought that would be a nice addition. Ooh, this I just realized there's sun coming through my window, even though you can't tell because I have lighting as well. But you can see the little rainbow from my prism in the window. It's very nice. So that's what that is, if you're wondering. Anyways, so yeah, just something to give some hope, some messages about the future of the things we have to look forward to, maybe some guidance around the situations that we are currently in. But yeah, I just feel like, especially at the time of doing this reading, and I'm calling this in for anyone who finds this later, but this is a message for when you are feeling down or hopeless or discouraged or just really sad about where we are in the world when it comes to, the climate and our governments and all of these things. So, yeah, we have the moon. Yeah, this is very much, we're all very much in our feels. Temperance, yeah, yeah, yep, makes sense. Um, Ooh, the Ace of Wands and the Two of Wands. Yeah, we're looking for hope. We're looking for progress. This group is feeling overwhelmed by feelings, is trying to regulate, is trying to find peace moving forward. And I think even if you're feeling really down, I think a part of this energy check is that you still are looking for hope. You are still desirous of finding connection and passion and things to live for in this life and things to celebrate in this life. And I also feel like this group is actually you're very grounded in the sense of that you're like, I don't need everything to be perfect all at once, but I really need something to start going well. I really desire something to change and something to shift so that I have something to work on and to focus on rather than the overwhelming situation that I am in currently. Yeah, this group is definitely choosing hope. You're choosing to see the bright side. It's not always easy. Also, you might have had some rough decisions recently. Yeah, Nine of Swords. You also might be grieving decisions that you no longer get to make, decisions that are now outside of your grasp. Um, for some of you, I'm hearing maybe a relationship ending where you specifically got broken up with, or the other person did something that pushed you to break up with them. That's one interpretation. I think another one is some of you losing a job that you really enjoyed or having to move from an apartment you really cared about. There's just a feeling like there was a choice that was taken out of your hand, and while you had to do the thing and you had to make the final choice, you didn't really get an option. And there's a lot of grief and sadness and processing going on. This doesn't have to have happened recently, but I do think it's been on your mind recently. Yeah, just really overwhelmed. really, really hoping for change and difference. And like I said, I don't think this group is like, oh, I think my life is going to magically get better. But you're like, can something go right? Is what I'm hearing from spirit. Can something start going well? Can anything change and shift so that it's not as bleak as it feels in this moment. Um, if this feels like you, if you've been feeling a bit down, if you've been feeling a bit discouraged, if you have a lot of hopes and dreams, but you feel like they're very contingent on other people's choices, um, you know, if it's partnership, then someone does have to choose you, just like you have to choose them. If it's a job, you have to be employed. If it's there, none of our choices are free from other people's influence. And so it does feel as though you feel kind of trapped in the fact that you are choosing all of the right things, but not everyone around you is choosing the things. And so, if this feels like it's you, we are going to get into the candle wax reading and we're going to get messages of hope and guidance from your future self. Hello, hello. The water is prepared and ready. We have our candle. I'm just going to clean off the wick a smidge, and then we're just going to light it with this candle because why make it harder? Oh, I just realized something. I have my AC on. I'm going to keep this lit, but I'm going to turn it off because it definitely affects the burn. Um, I don't know if that's any better. There we go. And I think that might even be a message is like, I think there might be something small in your environment that you can change in this moment. It's not going to be big, it's not going to change everything, but your future self is saying there are small adjustments that don't seem very big that I think have a big effect day to day. So maybe that's cleaning or organizing or sorting or stopping a certain habit or moving away from a certain energy. Grab my toothpick. There's also like some darkness and some blotchiness. It does just think your future self is just recognizing and commiserating with how you feel and with where you're at. Um, Shape. Yeah, I'm just getting like I'm hearing the words reset. Something is being reset. This isn't just stagnation for stagnation's sake. Something is being redone, removed, reset. Hearing reimagined. I'm also hearing the stage is being set for something. Something is about to happen. Something is about to change for sure. Um, your future self is saying it's almost time, or the time is near. Yeah, I'm getting so many messages from so many different iterations. We have this kind of grub shape, and grubs live in the soil in the dark and become very fat and juicy before they shift to a different shape. It feels like you are in your grub era, and you might be feeling a bit slimy and large and juicy. Um, but what your future self is saying is that this is just an era, this is just a time, this is not forever. Things are changing, things are shifting. There's also a croissant shape here, so I think they're like, in the meantime, buy yourself a treat, like Jill. Take yourself out, have a snack. Um, do something. It doesn't have to be a croissant. Just do something nice for yourself. There's also an eagle here, um, with its wings tucked behind it. You're not flying right now because your wings are tucked. It's not because you don't have them. Also seeing a butterfly, which I think might be a sign, especially as if you look at this anytime near this reading, we're coming to the end of the summer in the northern hemisphere. But if you does find you in the winter, it could be a non-live butterfly. Yeah, it will not always be like this. What's funny is your future self is like quasi ignoring the wax of it. It's just being like, I'm directly channeling this message. Listen up. We also have a donkey here, so don't give up. Be stubborn, resist, fight. Like your future self was like, we're so stubborn anyways. Like, why are we letting this thing get us down? And they're like, and we know it's a big thing, and we know it's hard, and it's not fun, but like, you have been through worse. This is just the freshest iteration, and we thought we were done with it, and we just weren't. There's also a hippo. Hippos are very big, and they seem cumbersome, and they seem weighed down and docile, but they're actually very aggressive and very intense. Your future self is also saying you're underestimating your power. You have more power than you think to shift and change things. They're showing me prayer beads and candles and incense and like a dream journal or like an inspiration board. They're like, a part of the stall here is so that you believe that things are possible before they come. Because if they come and you don't believe in them, then you're just going to continue being the irascible contrarian that you are. And they're like, we're not always like that. We also have a very distinctive heart here. For those of you looking for love, love is coming, and it's actually coming quite soon. But it feels like as it kind of overflows, it feels like it's going to be one of those kind of like watershed moments where it feels like it's never happening, it's never coming, and you're like either have given up or about to give up, or you've given up for a long time, and so you're like, oh yeah, it's never happening. I'm just going to be alone because dating sucks. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, your soulmate shows up. And I believe in multiple soulmates, so I'm not saying this is the one and only person, but this is the person who, of all of the people who you are tied to, connected to, have contracts with, that are romantic options, um, this one has come through with the right timing and with the right energy for your soul contract and has agreed on some level to do this life with you. So don't worry, it's coming. It's also turning into like a bodice or a dress. Your future self is like, enjoy being hot, enjoy your body, enjoy dressing yourself. Like, just because life seems difficult doesn't mean you don't have some really cool things in your closet. Um, explore again. I'm hearing like things might be stalled when it comes to external stuff, when it comes to what society values, but you are still a infinite soul, even if you're in a finite body that may or may not function at its best all the time. And so dressing yourself up, beautifying yourself, feeling sexy, feeling desirable, all those things can happen with or without people, with or without connection, with or without, what people think of you. We also have like a lotus. Lotuses grow out of the mud. Out of this difficult time, something beautiful is coming. And I know it really can suck to hear that because it feels blasé, but if it's any consolation, I'm also going through it. So I'm not just channeling bullshit, but, there's also these splatters, things don't need to be perfect for them to be good. And so if you're waiting for the perfect time for something, your future self is like, stop waiting. There's no perfect time to launch something. There's no perfect time to be more yourself. There's no perfect time to start your own business, to have a child, to start a family, to find love. Life is crazy and chaotic. And we only get so much time. They're like, don't put things on hold because they're not perfect. Don't put things on hold because your primary dreams haven't come true. Create some little dreams and shorter term goals for yourself to maintain hope. Also have like a little creature here. They got little toes. Sounds like a weird little hybrid, like it's giving, I don't know, like it's very creature-ish. It's kind of small dog energy. Um, but if some of you have been wanting a pet, maybe that's something to focus on as a shorter term goal. Um, Manifesting that. It's a pet ownership. I'm not saying it's not serious as a pet owner, but like it's smaller stakes than some things. Although I do take pet ownership very seriously. My dog has better healthcare than I do. And I've paid out of pocket way more for them, as it should be. We have a fox head. Also, I think some of you don't need to be as honest as you're being. And I'm not saying your future self isn't saying be deceptive, but you don't have to tell everybody everything. You don't have to be upfront about everything. People can find things out on their own. You don't need to give it to them all the time. I think this came through in another reading, but this looks like a sacred heart with the flames coming out of it. I think some of you, it doesn't need to be religious, but I think a practice of like prayer as a manifestation practice, sitting down and asking for things from the universe. If you do have a religious practice, you can do it through that medium, but it's about cultivating passion and desire through repetition, through supplication, through asking, and through also believing that you deserve good things. And if you don't believe that you deserve good things, which you do, I affirm that you do, it may sound silly, but literally just saying, I deserve good things, I deserve abundance, I deserve to be loved, I deserve to be respected and honored and treated well. Over time, those things become true. That's how the human brain works. Repetition is one of its most powerful tools. That's why when you watch something over and over again, it can really have a huge impact. And now that I have this ice cream cone, kind of back to this sweet treat idea, and also don't save something till it melts is coming through. If you have a dress that's really nice and you don't want to wear it because it's expensive, or if you have jewelry that's nice and you keep it in a box, they're like, life is short, enjoy it. If you lose it, you lose it. It's actually something that's happened in my practice. I had some really pretty scarves and stuff from childhood, from grandparents and stuff, and I was just had them in a box, and I put them on my altars, and the first thing that happens, the candle overflows and wrecks it. But I would rather, and it's still on the altar, it doesn't really wreck it, but I can't, it's not going to be wearable. But I would rather use these physical objects, use the things that I'm having, than saving them until I can no longer use them. This is also a tree. It might feel like in this moment your future self is saying that you don't have a legacy, that you're not going to have anything to leave behind, but you have time. And at the end of your life, you are going to have a tree not only of your own legacy, but the legacy that is connected to others. For some of you, it is children and grandchildren. For others, it is your work and your friendships and your found families and the children of other people. But you are going to have something to leave behind. So don't think that this is just it. Don't think that what you have in this moment is all you have to offer. It's just not true. There is more coming. There is more on the horizon. You have great things to accomplish. I always forget how big this bowl is. The wax is just like a little dot in the center. Yeah, there's also this rather large figure. They have their head bowed and their arms wrapped behind their back in contemplation and in grief. If you do need to grieve something, grieve it, but don't hold it. Don't keep it in your body. Don't use it as the precedent for your happiness. That is in the past, and you do have to grieve it to move into the future, but it's not what your entire life is going to be. Your past pain is not the guidebook for the next pain. And this is going to be me being practical. Yeah, the next pain will be different. But it's not, pain and sorrow doesn't have to rule your life, even if your life has been full of pain and sorrow. Yeah, you're also about to meet like-minded people. Also, people who are, I'm hearing, have depth and have a force of character. Um, Someone like us, they're saying. So you are about to meet like-minded people, people who have the same values of you, people who have the same consistencies. They're going to be more reliable, your future self is saying. Feels like you have a lot of unreliable friends right now, or just people who don't know how to show up consistently. You might be one of them. Maybe something your future self is saying that you can work on for reciprocation's sake. Don't have to show up all the time, but you do have to let people know when you can't. Yeah, with the way the wax is falling, it really feels like the ticking of a clock. The time is coming. Things are changing. Ooh. Also getting a D. So D might become something important in the next few days, a D or a P. Destruction, I'm hearing. Power. I'm also hearing that you don't have to participate in destruction and that you can have power without it. Yeah, there's two figures. There's one figure kissing the other figure's forehead. I do think this is your future self giving you a little bit of affection, letting you know that they care, but they're also saying someone is coming who's going to do this as well. Someone is coming to be the comforter, to be a support, to help shoulder burdens. I think it varies depending on who you are. If love is what you're desiring, it is romantic love. If platonic love is what you're desiring, then it is that. It's whatever kind of support you feel you need the most. There's also a breast here, which is always a sign of abundance and fertility and sensuality and nourishment. Your needs are going to be met. You are going to get the things that feel impossible. Um, you will not be left out in the cold. We will make it through this, is another message that's coming through. Yeah, we also get like a hammerhead shark. I always find if I record readings in the same week, which I have this week, um, I will get repeated animal symbols. So this hammerhead shark, big, intimidating, small mouth, but determined, stubborn, don't give up. You haven't given up before, don't give up this time. Be in there. Things are about to break. Things about to change. It's also a little tadpole-ish shape. Something is in a transitional growth period. Is it small? Is it fragile? Yes. Is it going to grow into something big and strong and functional? Absolutely. What else? I'm getting some silence, so I think some of you need to get rest, slow down, listen to your body. Some of the reason you might be blocked is because you are overdoing it and repeatedly burning yourself out, and your future self is like, we will not make it if we keep doing this, and we had to stop at some point. I think some of you have already stopped and slowed down, and now you're like, how do I survive at a slower pace in a fast-paced society? Um, this, you don't have to be in the US for this to apply. Also, we still have the frog head. Frogs are important. I think frogs is a symbol, tadpoles, thinking about that growth cycle and that life cycle, how frogs sing to attract their mates, um, how they fill the night with music. You have things to give to this world that are innate to you that don't require labor. Think about what those things might be. Also showing me like a toddler head with, eyes lower, looking at something, tapping back into your child self, tapping back into things that fascinated you as a child. Also going back and looking at your childhood hopes and dreams. I think for some of you there is grief, but for some of you there might be an answer to a question. Also, we're getting a C. For some of you, I think you want a cat or a car is coming through. Wanting to be able to afford something is definitely on the list here, which is not a shock. But what you need is going to show up. Also have a W, win, or as a sign, someone's name. Yeah, the future self is kind of slowing down. Take it slow. Do a little bit here, do a little bit there. We have a rabbit. Fertility, quick moving. Also, rabbits have a really short gestational cycle and tend to breed a lot. So there is going to be a time of rapid abundance. And part of the reason I think you're being asked to slow down is because you need to prepare for a time when you have less downtime. And it's less downtime for a good reason, but it's still less downtime. So learning to conserve your energy, learning to have boundaries, these things are going to move your timeline forward quicker, because the universe isn't going to give you something that's going to um, crash you out on top of everything else if you're not ready for it. A really elegant, regal figure. They have their hair up in some kind of bonnet or a wrap. For some of you, I think hair care might be helpful or important. But I will say, I think this is specifically for my folks of color. There is an ancestor beyond your future self that is coming through that wants to help you and work with you. So if you are a person of color, um, there's someone really strong and powerful that's pushing through even the direct channel of this message to reach out to you. So there is an ancestor that wants to work with you. There's an ancestor who wants to support you and bring in abundance. They are a woman of your family line. I think, yeah, it's giving passed away in the last 30 years. Big hoop earrings and beautiful, beautiful patterned clothing. Um, so if there's anyone in your family that fits that description, they definitely want to come through. For some of you, it's an even more ancient ancestor, however. Um, one far enough back to them being on the continent, whatever that means for your family line. Yeah, that's for a very specific group. Back to future self. Time Spirit has other messages to give. Yeah, I'm also kind of tasting chocolate, which partially is because I ate chocolate before this. And partially it's coming back in. So some of you, like I said earlier, a sweet treat or using chocolate as a part of your offerings to your guides, your deities. Anything high in calorie, high in sugar is really great for deity offerings and ancestral offerings and spirit offerings. We have another heart here. The hearts just keep coming. You know, love is coming your way. This heart is feeling more communal and more family. For some of you, you don't have a strong family connection, or you don't talk to your family, or your family has passed. You will have your own family one day, whatever that means for you, with children, without children, built with friends, built with a partner. That is possible and it is coming. Even though I think for a lot of you, that's it feels very impossible in this moment. Yeah, a time is coming to an end. You're coming to an end of an era. There might actually be some kind of signal in your astrology. Maybe you just finished your Saturn return. Maybe you're entering a new lunar phase. Um, yeah, there's definitely a shift here. Something's ending. We also have a walrus. Walrus is, once again, another animal that seems slow and not dangerous as long as you keep their distance. They move very quickly. So it feels like something that feels ponderous or seems slow, maybe a little intimidating, is actually going to move quite quickly. So just because something feels impossible doesn't mean it is. Just because something seems unlikely doesn't mean that it is. It just means that it requires more faith. And I'm hearing believe. Part of this time in your life is not purely material blockages. Also, there we have an O here. For some of you, it is orgasm. Some of you need to participate in that more. It doesn't have to be partnered. You can you can do it acoustic or you can do it electric. But yeah, some of this is a time to build your spiritual skills, to teach you spiritual tools, because necessity breeds ingenuity and breeds innovation. And so some of your spiritual practices need to be shifted or changed, or you need to go deeper into them. And this lack is forcing you to rely more heavily on spiritual things, manifesting, prayers. So know that the more you lean in, the faster this moves. The sooner you surrender, the sooner you are set free. And I can hear some of you saying, I've already done all this. If you've already done all this, then you are right on the edge of change. It's coming. Yeah, and they're also saying, you know, as this trail kind of emerges, you know, this is just one spot on a long path of life. I also think a lot of you listening to this are going to live a fairly full life in the element of time. I know some of you aren't pleased to hear that either. But some of you, most of you are going to live at least to the average of whatever your country's lifespan is. I think in the US it might be the 70s, but I know our lifespans are dropping drastically year by year in the US. Quality of living is not good. If you're in other countries, look up what yours is. Yeah, And this is you look at it, it's circling, this is a cycle. I think for a lot of you, this lifetime is a bit of a redo, which is why you feel so tired and you feel so impatient. You're like, yes, 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 I know I got to learn my lessons. I know what I messed up last time. Your soul's like, see, look, I fixed it. Let's go. And they're like, yeah, but sometimes other people have to catch up. And um, sometimes we're held in a certain place for a certain time so that we experience or meet something that we were meant to. So, not everything's a punishment, your future self is also saying. Sometimes stuff just happens. Sometimes things are just the way they are. Um, yeah, the skip an eye. Some of you could really dig into some protection practices. Your future self is saying for some of you, there's someone in your life who's not trustworthy or who is going to hurt you. For most of you, it's like emotional pain. For some of you, it is physical, so be careful. You will know what I'm talking about, your future self is saying. So, like, if you were like, this doesn't apply to me at all, I don't know who they're talking about, it doesn't apply to you. Yeah. You could buy, I don't know why I forget what they're called, but those little blue eyes. And I know it's a really simple, easy name. just eludes me. Let's blow this out before it burns the fingies off. Yeah, so, I'm not necessarily an everything happens for a reason person because I don't think everything does happen for a reason. I also don't believe the whole ridiculousness that past life practices often believe that, like, you agreed literally to every horrible thing that ever happened to you, so if something happened to you, it's on you. It's such a toxic thing. But I do believe in this specific reading about your future self that a lot of the stuff that's happening does have a purpose. And there is a method to the madness, if you will. But yeah, it really looks like an eye. For some of you, you are being kind of watched or surveilled. So, tighten up those things. If you have any type of a camera in your home, maybe practice unplugging it when you're at home and you don't need to keep an eye on stuff. For some of you, though, it is a more benefic energy. Your ancestors are watching you. Your guides are keeping a caring watch over you. You're being protected. Um, oh, the evil eye. Yeah, some of you need to be protected from the evil eye. Some of you need to wear protective eye jewelry. Any type of jewelry that has like an eye on it. I think this might even be a message from my future self to me. I am in the cohort in this moment. Let me cool it off a little more. Still pretty hot. I don't know why I checked the back because I rarely find anything on the back. I will say for some of you, I think there might be some kind of hill that you can go walk up or visit. A view is coming to mind, like maybe there's an overlook or something in your area. I think it will bring you a lot of peace and joy to look at that beauty. But yeah, there's a lot of circles and spirals. Know that everything is on track for what is already meant for you. So you've not lost your way, even if you feel lost. You're simply waiting for, or participating as we wait for um, something to be revealed. Anyways, my dears, this is my reading for you. I hope it gave you comfort and insight and guidance. I will see you all later. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Let me know if this reading at all resonated. Also, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all later. Bye.